Hello guys, so welcome back to Amazon Labs. In today's session, we are going to learn how to optimize your PPC campaigns. Listen guys, so this is going to be a masterclass of PPC. We are going to analyze real data. So just make a note of whatever we are discussing today. If you do that properly, by the time we finish this recording, you will have complete understanding of how to run your PPC campaigns, manage your PPC campaigns, and also scale your PPC campaigns. Right, so before speaking about anything, now let's try to understand what are the prerequisites for running your PPC campaigns well. Now we want to keep this video or recording very simple, so there are not many graphics or any hi-fi slides or anything like that. So we kept it very simple so that everyone of you can understand. Now the first thing in terms of prerequisites, you should always have a product, because ultimately everything starts with a product. You need to have a good and well differentiated product, and that product also should be priced well. Now let's say if your competitors are all selling at $20, you cannot come and sell the same product at $40 unless there is a tremendous value in it, isn't it? So you also need to be very much conscious about the pricing in the market. Let's say if you're looking or analyzing a particular search term, you need to see on that particular search term who are your top 16 competitors, what is their price range. When you plot this graph on a normalized curve, where are you standing? Are you standing within the top 25 or the next 50 or the last 25? So you need to have very good visibility of pricing, not only yours but also your competitors on certain important keywords. And then comes your images. Certainly selling on Amazon or e-commerce marketplaces, people are not touching or feeling your product. All that they see is images and the quality of listing and then the reviews. Now you need to make sure that you have excellent quality images. So this is one area where you cannot compromise. You could be spending so many thousands of dollars to buy your inventory, to ship your goods from China to or any other place in the world to USA, but ultimately don't think cheap when it comes to images. You need to pay a lot of attention. You need to invest money to get good quality images. And then comes your optimized listing. Now certainly you need to have well SEO indexed listing. Now for indexing your listing, now you should definitely do your keyword research using software tools as well as brand analytics. So you need to have a list of keywords that are important for your product. You need to make sure those keywords are embedded in your listing, in your title, in your bullets, in your backend, in your EBC area. It's very important that your listing is well optimized. And it's also good to have a video in your listing. So videos, you can have it in among your images, or you can also leverage your Q&A section. Under Q&A section, you can make people ask a question. Now you can post a generic question, and in response to the question you can also post a video. Not only there, initially when you're gathering your reviews, the initial few reviews, you can also ask your friends and family to post a video along with a positive review. Now certainly you also need to make the best use of EBC, and then you have your reviews and rating. So these are all prerequisites. So this is just like a launch pad. Before launching rocket into space, firstly you need to have your foundations right, isn't it? Otherwise your rocket will not fly straight up, right? It will go sideways. Now likewise, before launching your products, before managing any of your PPC campaigns, it's very important that you have these all things in right places. Right, now before speaking about anything about optimization or PPC, anything as such, let's also understand what is the whole structure. You need to know at a bird eye view, at a high level. You need to know how is that I'm going to structure my PPC campaigns, what is the overall flow. When I have that high level view, then I can get into integrities and then work on my optimizations, and then try to work or improve or try to go with the flow. Now certainly you can look at your overall PPC campaigns or overall the entire process can be broken down into 4 tiers, right? So the first tier is your launch phase. The second tier is your discovery phase. The third tier is your sales and evaluation phase. And the fourth tier is your performance phase. In the first tier, what is that you're going to do? So this is the first initial steps, right? These are your baby steps. Now, when you're launching your product for the first time, you are definitely not going to run your auto campaigns, because you know which product you are selling, you know who are your top competitors, you have done a lot of analysis to study your competitors, gather those keywords where they are indexed well, maybe in your top 16, you have studied, you have taken data from brand analytics, you have seen where is that these guys converting the most. So you have all this information. Now, by the way guys, if you do not know how to do all this work, there are a couple of interesting videos on our channel, please check them out. But certainly you have so many keywords. The first thing that you need to do is you need to test your keyword, or sorry, you need to test your product on these keywords. So launch, you're definitely going to start with your exact match campaigns. Now, exact match campaigns, I would prefer to have one keyword per campaign. Certainly at this phase, you want this launch phase to be as quick as possible. On Amazon, it could last anywhere between 2 to 4 months, but you know, this is where you also need to be a little aggressive. This is one phase. During launch phase, you are trying to buy data by investing more. You are going to invest more by running top of search campaigns, high bid, super aggressive bids, because you want to show your product on the top and you want to gather as many sales as possible in the initial few days and give all signals to Amazon indicating your relevancy for a particular search term. Right now, at this stage, what is that you're going to monitor? Now, once you initiate your exact match campaigns during your launch phase, your goal is to get at least 5 sales. Okay, now you want to achieve these 5 sales, so it may take some time, so but certainly your goal is to get 5 sales, and these 5 sales should have, I mean, your conversion ratio should be good, your ACOS should be within your break-even range. Let's say if your product's if your target ACOS is 30%, right? So if your, let's say if your gross margin is 30%, then you need to make sure your ACOS is also within your 30% range. Now, there is one key point here. Now, typically when you're launching, you know, certainly you would bid at a lower price. Let's say if you want to sell a product which is of $30, you could be launching this product at $20 or $19 to get those initial few sales. Now, certainly here your ACOS could be low, but you may not be profitable at this particular ACOS, isn't it? So, you know, just make a note of this point. It's very important, because certain decisions in terms of rankings we are going to make basis sales and conversion ratio. So we should be very much clear that while we get 5 sales at a lower ACOS, at this phase, you are not very much prepared for ranking. Why? Because your price is low. At this price, yes, so many sales were there, yes, your conversion ratio is really good, but note that your price is low. That is why those two indicators or metrics perform well. Now, what will happen if you rank it up blindly? Now, certainly, you know, you will do well, you are there in top placements, but eventually when you raise your prices, you will not be able to maintain those positions, you will fall back, right? Do not be in a rush to rank. Now, you may do that if you have so much money and if you want to waste some money, so no one can stop you, but certainly take some time, study some data properly, and then only take a conscious decision. And then comes your you know, what I typically want to see is I want to look at keywords, or you know, keywords where I got at least 2+ sales. Yes, certainly I want to get at least 5 sales. Now, yeah, I can also monitor, right? So where there are keywords where I got at least 2 sales, the first thing that I'm going to do, when now certainly these are exact match campaigns, I see I got more than 2 sales, I am going to initiate couple of discovery campaigns. Discovery campaigns are nothing but I'm going to initiate broad and phrase match campaigns on those keywords. Which keywords? The keywords which have given us at least 2 sales. Now let's say we have 2 keywords, keyword A, keyword B. Now for both the keywords, I'm going to initiate broad and phrase match campaigns. So this is where we are entering into tier 2, right? So this is the flow. We moved from tier 1 to tier 2. Now understand, when we move a keyword, now these are exact match campaigns, right? So here we are initiating broad and phrase match campaigns. You are not going to negate this exact match campaign. You're not going to do that. You're going to continue your campaigns here, right? But there are general negation rules which apply across the board. We'll cover that towards the end. Now then, once you are in discovery phase where you have your broad and phrase match campaigns, now here what are your KPIs? Here you're looking for search terms where you got at least 5 sales and your conversion ratio is greater than 15% and your ACOS is within your target range. right? Now target range is like nothing but, let's say if your gross margin is 30%, now you want your ACOS to be under 30%, as simple as that, which is your break even range. Now let's say after a few days you also got to see there are search terms which have given you 5 plus sales, and then your ACOS is under your break even range, conversion ratio is also as per this KPI sheet. Now what you're going to do is you're going to further evaluate these keywords or search terms. Now what you're going to do is, here you identified a couple of search terms which are qualifying these KPIs. You're going to initiate exact match and exact match and phrase match campaigns. So technically you are transitioning those search terms from tier 2 to tier 3, isn't it? Now in tier 3, for those search terms you're going to run an exact match and a phrase match campaign. Okay, now here what are your KPIs? Now when you reach to this level, now on these keywords, now understand your search terms have become keywords here because you are targeting those search terms, right? Now on these keywords you want at least 2 sales, and you want your conversion ratio to be greater than 20%, and your ACOS to be within your break even range. If any of those keywords are qualifying these metrics, you will select that particular search term for ranking, right? So this is the entire flow, and this flow also take time to move from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and while qualifying or meeting these criteria, while flowing from tier 1 to tier 4, it's also very important that you do not run out of stock. If you run out of stock, you are just losing out on the momentum, which we do not want to happen. Right now across the board, like while you're transitioning from tier 1 to tier 4, there are certain negation rules which applies throughout the this life cycle, PPC life cycle. The first one, if you have a keyword where or a search term where you have more than 20 clicks and 0 sales, you're definitely going to pause them. Why? Because now what does 20 click mean? If I just do 1 by 20, right, 1 by 20 is nothing but 5%. It means that your conversion ratio is as low as 5%. If that is the case, just imagine, right, now you are saying I need at least, now like 20 clicks, 0 sales, your conversion ratio is really bad, so technically you need to pause it, no matter how relevant is that particular search term. You may feel that no, this search term is really good, it is what exactly my product means, but certainly your numbers are not speaking the same language, so you need to pause them. Right now you need to base your decisions basis data. It is not basis your instincts. Yes, of course instincts are also important, but primarily data is the new gold, isn't it? Right. And then you have conversion ratio. If your conversion ratio is less than 5, then also you're going to pause. Now you may also get to see certain search terms where you spend 2 or 3 times your sales price and there are 0 sales. You're definitely going to pause any such search terms or keywords. Okay, now given the fact that you understood how to transition from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and you also have some basic understanding of negation rules, now let's try to study a search term report from a sample example data. So let's see how is that we study this data, what kind of decisions we make, how is that we really review this data on a weekly basis. And this exercise is really important because you get complete clarity, complete visibility into what we exactly do in terms of PPC. Now the first thing that we do is we look into our search term report. We would extract this report. So this is for last 7 days. Now the first and foremost thing that I want to do is I want to look for search terms where I got 0 sales. Okay, now you see in last 7 days, now these are the search terms where I got 0 sales. Now I am interested in search terms where at least I got 10 clicks, right? So there are 2 such search terms where we got 10 or more clicks and we got 0 sales, and yes, we spent a lot of money also. Now can we blindly negate this particular search term? The answer to that question is absolute no. Because see, you are looking into this data, this is for last 7 days, but you also need to know how this particular search term has done historically. Maybe these 7 days there could be some important Prime Day or anything like that, or Black Friday or Cyber Monday. People have all reduced their prices, that is why customers did not end up buying your product. So before negating this particular or pausing this particular search term, you need to know how this particular search term has done historically. For that, what I'll do is I will also go and study last 30 days data for that particular search term. Now when I study last 30 days data, what I see is I got 5 sales and my clicks are 34. So if I really see what is my conversion ratio, my conversion ratio 5 by 34, which is around 14.7%, which is like 15% conversion ratio, which means this actually is a good keyword for us. This week it did not perform well, but it may perform well next week. So certainly I will not pause this particular search term. I will just reduce the bid. Maybe right now, last week we were bidding at $3.03. Next week I'll bid it at $2.50. Maybe I'll reduce it by 25%, and then I will see how this particular search term performs. Now likewise, so that is how we are going to make your decision. Don't blindly negate just because that particular keyword has given you 10 clicks. Likewise, I'll also study one more keyword. Here I got 11 sales, 11 clicks, 0 orders. Now here also I'll see how this particular search term has performed historically. But historically, if the conversion ratios are less than 5%, when I look at the last 30 days range, I'm going to pause this particular keyword, certainly, right? And for the remaining keywords or search terms, you did not get, there is not much of data because hardly 10 clicks. So I will let them run or let them continue. Now what I'm going to do is, on the remaining keywords, I'm going to see how many impressions did I receive in the last week. Now if the count of this impressions is under 300, now you see there are so many search terms or keywords where your impressions are less than 300 in last 7 days. I want to increase the bids, because lesser number of impressions as in you're not there in the customers are not able to find you, you're not visible to your customers. It's important that you're visible to your customers. So I'll raise the bids maybe by 25% or 20% with a goal of achieving at least 400 impressions or 500 impressions every week, right? So that's the decision that I'm going to take basis this report. And then I'm also going to study keywords and search terms where at least I got one order. Now you see guys, so these are the cases where we at least have one order. Now what is that we can study or understand? Now you need to learn that whatever decision that we are making, everything is dependent on conversion ratio. It is not on your ACOS. ACOS will come later. Conversion ratio is very important because you need to tell Amazon that this particular product is so much relevant to a particular keyword. So your decisions, primary decision or your everything, your first KPI should be your conversion ratio. Rest comes later. Now you see, while I got only one order, I still need to wait for some more time, and I don't see many clicks also. So I will just what I'll do is I'll just look into my conversion ratio. In all these cases, my conversion ratio is pretty healthy. I have conversion ratios greater than 15%. So I am definitely not going to reduce my bids despite my ACOS being so high. I do not want to reduce the bids because I'm doing well, pretty well. And moreover, I don't have many clicks. I want to have at least 10 clicks before making any decision. However, if you look into this keyword, you got 12 clicks, which is decent. 12 clicks is like you surpassed your threshold of 10 clicks. Now your conversion ratio is not really great. It is 8.33%. So what you want to do is you also want to check your ACOS. You are checking your ACOS only because your conversion ratio is bad and your clicks are also a little beyond 10 clicks. Now here I want to reduce my bids. Maybe I'm bidding at 2.96. I'll reduce my bid by 20%, because you see, it's not about your ACOS and your clicks. They both come later. I'm more concerned about my conversion ratio. If my conversion ratio is good, I would have not, made any changes, or if not, I would have not increased or I would have not decreased my bid. I would have left the same bid and monitored this particular search term for one more week, right? So that is how I'm going to analyze this data set. Now likewise, I'll also look into keywords where I got at least 2+ sales. Now the foremost thing for all these search terms, you need to make sure there is an exact, a broad and a phrase match campaign. This is the only way how you can scale up your campaigns on Amazon. Make a note of it. This is the only way how you can scale your campaigns on Amazon. Now these are the search terms and keywords where you got at least 2 orders, right? Now forget about ACOS, CVR, all that stuff. We'll evaluate that stuff in few seconds. But the first takeaway is that it's very, very, very critical for you to make sure for each of the search terms there is a separate exact, there is a separate broad, there is a separate phrase match campaign, right? So this is exactly what we spoke here, right? Now you see launch and discovery. We said now if you're transitioning from tier 1 to tier 2, you see these are all exact match campaigns. You have search terms which have given you 2 plus sales, search terms 2 plus sales. You are going to put them in discovery. You are going to initiate broad and phrase match campaigns with a goal of 5 sales, conversion greater than 15%, ACOS within your target, within your gross margin, right? Now the next thing, what is that we want to study here? Fine, you got greater than 2 sales, that's first KPI. Now forget about that action is taken. Now what next? Now what I want to do is I want to study my conversion ratio once again, right? So I want to see where my conversion ratio is greater than 15%. Now fine, I get to see these all search terms are great, my conversion ratio is great in last 7 days. Now there are also a few cases where I got at least 5 sales. So this is your tier 1, right? In tier 1, what is your goal? You're also, while you are looking for keywords which have given you 2 plus sales, your goal is also to get at least 5 sales, okay, at a good ACOS and a good conversion ratio. Now you see in these exact match campaigns, my CVR is good, I got 5 sales. Now the next thing that I want to check is how is my ACOS, right? You see in these two cases my ACOS is really high, right? It is 76-64%. I'm not really interested, so I'm not really looking forward to rank up my product on these search terms, primarily because while I got good orders, while my conversion ratio is good, my ACOS is not really great. So I'm not really prepared at this point in time. So we will have to evaluate this data for a few more days and then see if our ACOS improves. So the action item that we are going to take is we are going to optimize upon our bids, right? In these two cases we could be bidding at 4.3 to 2.55. We want to reduce our bids maybe by 20% or by 15%, whatever. You want to take that action, you want to monitor this data, these two search terms for some more time, right? Now forget about these two. Now what about this one? Your conversion ratio is good, your orders are good, and then your ACOS is also within your target range. Now what is that? Now you see, don't blindly rank it up right away. Now you need to understand this is the data set for last 7 days. It's important also for you to understand how this particular search term has done in last 30 days, because in last 7 days it is very shorter amount of duration, right? Ranking is not cheap. You will have to drive a lot of sales at a discounted price, which will cost you more money, right? Before doing anything like that, be like double triple assured, right? So what you're going to do is you want to see how this particular search term has done in last 30 days, right? So when you monitor this data for last 30 days, you see your ACOS is still good, you've got your order count will definitely be more than 5, and then your ACOS is still good. And if that's the case, you also need to analyze one more metric. In last 30 days, what was your price point? Now let's say you launched it at a discounted price, at lower price, your numbers are all looking good. Now that will not work. You're still not prepared to rank. So your price should also have been stable in last 30 days. Price should be your target price where you are making certain profit. Now when all those metrics are considered, and then if you feel that yes, this is good, then you need to prepare yourself for ranking a product on that particular search term. So these are few metrics. I mean, this is all analytical, but these are the only criteria that we generally consider before taking any such decision. Now what about these two? Okay, I think we analyzed these 3 cases so far. Okay, I'll just okay. Now what about or I'll color them in maybe in or wait, I'll just color them in maybe. Okay, these 3 are taken care. Now what about these 2? Now you see you have 4 sales, conversion ratio is good. Now in this case your ACOS is 14, which is good. Now you don't have 5 sales, you want to monitor for some more time. Now in this case you may increase your bid, right? You may increase your bid because your ACOS is low, your conversion ratio is high, you have 4 orders, I mean your spend is just 2.42, you're doing pretty well, so increase your bid. Don't worry about your don't worry about your spend or anything like that. Now in this case you already have 43% ACOS, your conversion ratio is good, you have only 4 orders, so you need at least 5 orders. Now I will not reduce my bids, I will just make sure that I'm maintaining the same bid, which is 4.38. I do not want to reduce the bid because my conversion ratio is good. Now let's say if my gross margin is 30%, I'm willing to spend anything up to 40% because that's okay. Why? Because we need to understand that it is said when you're spending on PPC, it is not just your PPC sale, it is also driving or influencing your organic sales. So it's important. So I would say a 10% buffer is alright as long as you have a healthy conversion ratio. Now we have looked into these two metrics also. Now there are another 3 search terms. So now what about these? Now you see my conversion ratio in this case is around 15% or something closer to 15. I got only 3 orders. Right, my ACOS is super high. Now here also my conversion ratio is low, here also my conversion ratio is low. Now this is like 14.28 is also low. I want this number to be at least 15%. Now but certainly since my ACOS is high and then I did not have much of orders, at least just 2-3 orders, I want to optimize upon our bids, I want to reduce our bids. Right, now one quick hack. Now given the fact, now this is something which we already discussed in our previous videos or recording as well. Now one quick hack, this will save you a lot of time. So the best thing to do, especially when it comes to taking decisions on ranking or anything like that, is to just run a simple pivot of all your customer search terms. When you run a simple pivot of all the search terms, this is exactly what you get to see. Okay, what is my search term? Now see, there could be certain search terms which are getting repeated over and again. You want to avoid that mess, and the only way to do that is just run a simple pivot on your search terms, and then you see how many impressions, how many clicks, what is your CTR, your cost per click, spend, ACOS, orders, and conversion ratio. Now when you do this for last 7 days, you can once again redo the same thing. Whatever we have done so far here, you can just get a quick glance. Now ultimately you want to look for search terms where you got at least 5 sales and your conversion is greater than 15%, your ACOS is under your target range. Now here I see one such search term, right? I see I got 6 orders, in last 7 days I got 6 orders, my conversion ratio is really good, ACOS is under 30%, which is also good. Now can I rank up for this particular product? The answer is no. You want to see how this particular search term has done in last 30 days, right? Now what I'll perform a simple pivot. I'll once again download a search term for last 30 days. I will evaluate this data once again, and I see in last 30 days there is no such search term. I mean, certainly there are search terms where my conversion ratios are healthy, but my ACOS is not that great. My ACOS is still really high. I cannot rank up a product on a particular search term with this particular this ACOS. I want my ACOS also to be under my gross margin or within my gross margin range. So you see, looking into last 7 days data, it may look so good and you are prepared, but ultimately when you study last 30 days data, you are not really prepared. And one more thing, now let's assume there are certain sales where your ACOS is also good along with CVR and orders. Now you need to evaluate whether your price point was it stable or not. See, at a discounted price, if you are doing well, you will certainly do well when your price is discounted, but that's not the point. The point is that at your target price, are you doing well or not? If that is the case, you should definitely go ahead and rank it up. Now what do I mean by ranking? Ranking is nothing but, now let's say you have a particular search term, right? If your index somewhere at the bottom, like your visibility is low, right? And when you are assured after running all our PPC, whatever we discussed so far, you get to see search terms which are doing really well. You want to make sure you are there on the top placements, isn't it? Right? You want to be there 1, 2, 3, 4. When you are here, more people will be able to see, and then people will be able to buy. Now you need not worry that for ranking I'm pushing more sales, I'm losing money. Do not worry about that, because you are assured that your conversion ratio is good, you have a better product, you are already doing well. You have taken that assurance through our funnel managed PPC campaigns. That is the reason why you have 4 layers, 4 levels, right? So at launch, at this stage you are very wide, it is very broad, right? When you come down, you're going to target very aggressively. Now at this stage, now let's say if you're on organic position number 16, you want to be there on organic number 4, right? You see these 4 are advertisements, these are sponsored, this is an organic listing, so these are all organic listing. You want to be here. Now how do I get to here? There are 2 ways of doing it. The first way is what everyone does, that is by, it could be your search find by, which is against Amazon's terms of service, so you can use it up to your, it's up to your own discretion. Now you may also contact external agencies who will buy products for you on a particular search term for a specific duration in order to improve your rank. There are many such agencies, but it is also just waste of money, because see, ultimately you understand one thing. What are the fundamentals? Fundamental is that Amazon will rank you up when your conversion ratio is high, isn't it? Now let's say you notice that this particular search term is really good, so you are prepared for ranking. Now what you want to do is, on this particular search term, you want to make sure your conversion ratio is really high. Now how you are going to do that is, you are just going to drop your price. Let's say on this page, at what price, right? So this guy is selling at 24.95, 26, 32, 22, 22, 14, right? I see that the lowest price is 14. Now at this stage, since I want to move up my organic rank position, I could be pricing my product at $14 or $13. I want to drive as many sales as possible. In that manner, over a period of 7 to 10 days, I'm going to move my organic ranking maybe from 16 to number 4 or number 3, number 2, number 1. When I do that, certainly my sales also will 10x, right? So I hope this video is very informative and you learned something new. So I think I covered almost all the key aspects of Amazon PPC optimization, how to structure, how to take decisions. This is exactly what we need to do. I hope this video is of massive value add. If that is the case, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and also share this recording with your friends. Honestly, when I started my Amazon journey, I struggled a lot in terms of PPC. There were so many perspectives, so many thoughts, do this every day. You get to see some of the other strategy. Just throw all those strategies into a garbage bag. Just stick to this process. This is the fundamental, right? So make sure these concepts are clear, and just be patient with your PPC campaigns, and take right decisions at right time. If you do that, certainly no one can stop you from getting sales. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's really nice speaking to you all. Thank you for your time. Have a great day ahead, and thank you so much for allocating your time and watching this video. Thank you guys. Take care and bye.